Alright guys, not the type of video anyone probably ever feels comfortable making, but one that truly deserves to be made, especially for me in my life. As you can see from the title of the video, Toriyama had passed away last night. Well, not last night, the news broke last night, and but he passed away on March 1st. I was sitting downstairs. It was either me and the wife were debating what we wanted to watch, spend some time together, and it was either going to be the State of the Union address or Wheel of Fortune, like all old people start to watch as they get older together. And we decided on Wheel of Fortune. So during one of the commercial breaks, I'm sitting down there and I'm flipping through my feed, and I saw an article pop up, an announcement that he had passed. Article's like 2-3 minutes old, just came out. It's like 6:30, 7ish, something like that. And sure enough, looking into it, because not knowing if it was real, ends up being true. Tried to record a video last night, just couldn't really think of the right things to say or anything, so trying again today. But I just wanted to talk about the influence and impact he had on my life personally. Because I'm sure, like I said, there's probably hundreds and thousands, millions of people I know where Dragon Ball Z has just really influenced them, been a big impact on their life. Well, how can a cartoon like affect and change a person so much? It's weird. Music, mediums, video games can really touch people in certain ways and influence them. So I'm looking forward to watching many videos like mine today to see how his creations helped influence their lives. So since this is a video game channel, first and foremost, I did have stacks of games here to kind of show off some of the favorites that, of course, just from his character designs, Dragon Ball Z, every Dragon Ball Z game, I try to play and get each one of them just because I love the franchise so much and it meant so much to me. But more than the Dragon Ball Z games, without a doubt, my favorite JRPG series, Dragon Quest. Just his character designs and artwork in this. It's anytime you see his designs in anything, you know, like, oh, that's got to be Toriyama. He had to do that. Chrono Trigger, just, you can tell his artwork from anything. It's just beautiful. I love it. The way the colors contrast each other and just like match so perfectly. Just all his characters look so great to me, especially in the Dragon Quest franchise. Love that. And I love that we have things like this that can still, of course, in all the shows and stuff he's done to keep his legacy alive through these mediums. And then Blue Dragon, one of the most underrated JRPGs in my opinion. I know people gave it a hard time when it first came out, of course. Character designs and stuff in this, so love this game in Series 2. But like more importantly, like than all that, it's going back to Dragon Ball Z and the roots there. For a guy like me, which I believe I started watching the show in 1999, I believe. And it wasn't even one of those things where I was looking forward to watching it. Like my sister was kind of watching it, my younger sister. And I would give her a hard time, like make fun of her for watching it. I was the more going outdoors, playing sports and stuff like that. And she'd stay inside and watch cartoons all the time. So I'd give her a hard time. That Toonami block that came on, she would sit there and watch it all. And then I would stay in and start to watch some. One of those things like being the big brother where you're watching it and you're actually kind of enjoying it, but you're still giving them a hard time for like, can't believe you watch this stuff. And then you're sitting there like, oh, what's that going on right there? And you find yourself getting into it. And then I just got hooked. I got hooked into it. And I remember I'd be asking her all sorts of questions because she had already seen most of it already by the time I'm watching it. And I'm learning and just getting involved in it and just loving it. And I remember getting so into the show very soon, very quickly. Really started loving the character Vegeta. Vegeta's the man. He's my top anime character of all time. I just loved everything about him, his attitude, having that attitude, thinking he's the best, and then just wanting to hold it up and prove it to you. It was just, I loved it. Like, loved everything about him. I didn't really connect that much to Goku. It was more Vegeta. So I just got instantly hooked to that show when starting to actually watch it and pay attention to it. And it was one of those things. If you're male, female, I don't think of anyone who hasn't sat there and imagined what it would be like to go Super Saiyan. Like any of us would just wish we could go Super Saiyan one time. You've tried it. I know you have. Back in 1999, I was born in 1985, so I'm 14, 15 years old when I'm really starting to get into the show. So just at the start of high school. And there's times in high school you wish you could have probably went Super Saiyan on somebody. Or just at any time again. I like to play sports and everything. So out there on the basketball court, just wish you could power up and go off and just start dunking on everybody. So I don't know of anyone who didn't wish that they couldn't or didn't try. You tried. Don't lie about it. If you were a fan of the show, you tried to go Super Saiyan. And of course, it never worked for any of us, but imagine if it could. It would be crazy. But just that feeling, the way the show introduced that kind of stuff to me. I had never watched any type of anime. That was my first time seeing any type of Japanese animation. I'm used to American cartoons. Well, the closest thing I would say would be, I used to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! In the mornings. Of course, we had Pokemon that would come on, so that's a lie. I did watch Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! I'd get into that. But if I'm getting my times right, Yu-Gi-Oh! Might have been after Dragon Ball Z came over here. So, I don't know. My times are messed up. But it's one of the first I ever watched. But I never seen anything like that with the fighting and how all that was incorporated to it and the transformations. And I'm like, this is insane. This is blowing my mind. This is incredible. So, of course, you'd watch it and then talk about it with the other kids on the bus. Did you watch the episodes? And especially when they started showing newer episodes where everyone's watching it all again at the same time. It was just awesome. It was always a big thing. If a new season of Dragon Ball Z was coming out, that was the thing that was going on. So it meant a lot to a lot of kids. But other than just the show being so great and loving it, it also influenced me to want to start drawing myself. That shows single-handedly. I never did any type of drawing before. I would not have considered myself any type of artist at all. I still don't today. I don't consider myself good at it or an artist because I just don't do it enough. It's something where when I sit down and do it, I really have to concentrate and focus on it. I'm not like, I was just watching some of Toriyama stuff today where he's just doing drawings. And what he can do in 30 minutes that looks like a masterpiece would take me a couple hours. I really have to sit down and focus on things. Maybe just because I don't do it enough, but it's something I really enjoyed to do back in the day. And it was all because of him and his artwork and his designs, his show that got me into it. I have some of them right here to show you how my progression was in it. I think I did a video on my channel years ago showing off a few of my drawings. But it's a pretty cool little history of where I started at to where we kind of are now. So I was going to show that to you. But without that show, I would have never even tried. I would have never tried to dabble into it and explore to see what I could do. And, even though I'm not the best, it looks okay, in my opinion. So it's something I really enjoyed. And yeah, I hope I can get really back into it again. Because again, if it just didn't take me so long to work on a piece of art, I'd probably do it. But let me show you a couple things. So my very first drawing I ever attempted, and of course the only way I could really learn and figure out how to draw stuff was if I was looking at a piece of art of his, then I would try to draw it myself, not trace it, but look at it and put it to the paper. And my very first one I ever did, if you can even see it these days because it's so old, I'm pretty sure I drew this back in either 99 or 2000, was this Goku. And you could tell by fingers and stuff, it's, I hated drawing hands. I could not ever draw hands. To this day, I would still hate drawing hands. But for the most part, after I had finished this, I was really proud of it. I was like, man, I actually did this. And so again, around I'm like 14, 15 years old doing this, and there's 6-year olds who can draw way better than this. But to what I could do today, they can draw way better than that was my first drawing. And of course, I had to draw my boy Vegeta as my second one. So, and you could already see the improvements already just from the first drawing to the second. Of course, this one still having problems with hands, but when you're sitting there looking at something and drawing it, it's a little bit easier than all you amazing artists who can just do the stuff off the top of your head. So I was pretty proud of my second ever drawing. I would try to figure out how I wanted to initial my stuff here, thinking I'm going to become this big artist one day, maybe on Toriyama's level. I'm going to get so good, maybe they'll let me work on the show. Of course, that never happened. Never will happen because I'll never be that good. But that's where my roots started. And then I wanted to start incorporating, like learning how to color. Of course, still no shading or anything in these, just drawing stuff. Uh, Figuring out how I'm going to do my initial now, like an SPS with the year. So this was in the year 2000. I finally draw this Goku, which, yeah, I did what I could. And then in that same year, it was finally something where I finally did one where I was like, you know what? This is like, I really enjoyed my piece I did here. Like, I was really proud of this one. Like, my sister had a poster on her wall of this picture, and I wanted to try to draw it. Of course, nowhere near as good as the poster, but incorporating more than one character, a lot of different things going on at once, it really pushed me to my limits. Of course, me hiding the hand over here so I don't have to draw it. But I was really proud of this piece at the time. Like, hey, I actually did that with more than one person on it. So, really cool. So let me fast forward another year. I'm still not quite implementing shading and everything. And I still have some very big downfalls in my art. The nose, the Michael Jackson, like, horrible nose. I don't mind drawing the back of a hand, but still, I'm hiding the front of hands. They are so intimidating, and I hated it. But I think we are. Like, we're slowly improving. We're trying to incorporate more lines and stuff. But yeah, we still got a long way to go. Then one of the ones I was truly proud of was this King Vegeta one, where I really tried my best to figure the shading out, where light would go. But I always wanted to get this framed again, even though it's not really good. But it was something I was proud of, like to have the courage to try to fill out this whole big page. So I was proud of it. And then that would lead to me actually doing, like, taking an art class in school in 2003 in like my junior year, and really learning like different techniques and everything with inks and pens and everything like that. But after that, I took a big hiatus, like from any type of drawing. I just didn't have the time for it. You're graduating from high school, getting into the real world. I was working a real job. I had college that was going to be coming up. It was just so much going on. Then met my wife when I was young. We got married young, started having kids young. So it's just a lot starts to happen, and you just stop doing stuff. I stopped drawing, period. Just never draw again. And I didn't pick any type of pencils or art back up until, man, not even a few years ago, when I was working a job that allowed me and gave me the time to actually do it. It was a job that involved me having to sit down a lot and just do nothing. So it was like, you either read a book or you can do something else. And I decided I was going to start drawing again. And it was weird because while I was at work, I was always like, I'm going to do this. I actually bought an art book to actually finally get some lessons to learn how to draw. So, like, going through the art book, doing the lessons, then doing my own thing at the same time. And one of the first things I had to draw, Alex Return to Mother Base had gifted me a Dragon Quest art book, like art book of going through all the games and history and stuff like that. It's like, you know what? I want to draw some Dragon Quest stuff. And of course, Akira Toriyama, his influence, like, oh, this will be right up my alley. So at work, I had to draw the hero. So again, not the best thing in the world, but man, was I finally really proud to finally do a Dragon Quest piece of artwork because I had done so much Dragon Ball Z, loved that, and Toriyama's work in that. Let me finally do some Dragon Quest. So finally did it, and it wasn't too bad. I'll take it. So not the best in the world, but I'm happy about it. So finally got Dragon Quest represented in it. Which leads us to my most recent piece of artwork. So you've seen my evolution from 1999 all the way here in 2024. And the last piece of artwork I did here was in 2022. So over 20 years of art, which with a big like 15, 16-year gap in there of actually not doing any art. So this was the last thing I drew in 2022, and after drawing it, I thought I was really going to get into drawing again. And then I just stopped again, like I just didn't. So I'd start watching Demon Slayer, and Inosuke, I think is how you say his name, was just loved his character right from the introduction. So I had to draw something of him, and this was actually inspired by another piece of art that I had saw someone else draw. So I was like, I wanted to give it a try. So here we are, all the way from 1999 to now. I think it was easily the best thing I had ever done, even though, again, it's not good at all. It's like amateur level stuff. But to see my evolution, I was like, man, I'm actually learning kind of how to do this stuff now. Nowhere near the levels of all you great artists out there, but I was still proud of it. And again, I never would have got there without the influence or inspiration of Dragon Ball Z. It started it all. It made me want to put pencil to paper, color to paper, and learn how to do it. I wish I had stuck with it, but again, like I said, just things get in the way. But I didn't want to make this like whole thing about me. I did want to show like how he influenced me and wanted to start drawing, but it's just he's left a legacy that it'll carry on for generations. He is the GOAT of anime, in my opinion. I know people like to criticize Dragon Ball Z stuff now because so many great animes have come out that are more in depth and deeper and more adult now for us, but nothing's ever going to top Dragon Ball Z for me. It'll always be number one. Just, it's probably going to be for that nostalgia factor alone, but just how much it influenced and impacted my life when I was younger. If I'm watching something today, it's not really, I'm watching Demon Slayer and it's a great show, but it's not impacting or life changing for me. It's not going to change my life. It's not going to make me want to, it made me want to pick up a pen and paper and want to actually try to draw a character again, but that started because of Toriyama and Dragon Ball and his creations. So it's just weird. Things happen at certain times of your lives that really can create an impact and really change you. And man, I'm going to miss that. Just, he was so young, 68 too. I would have thought, I felt like Toriyama has been around forever. He's been doing this so long. I thought he was in his 80s. I'm not joking. I thought he was in his 80s. And when I saw that he was just 68, I'm like, man, he had so much more time that he could have shared his talents and just, man, he could have been doing so much still. But 68, I'd be happy if I can at least get to 68. It'd be awesome. But I'm just glad that I was able to live in a time to really enjoy his works while he was here. There's not too many people, again, that I would get starstruck by. I used to work a job when I was in law enforcement where I met a lot of celebrities, never really got starstruck at all. Shawn Michaels was a big one for me because I loved wrestling. So it was an honor to meet him and shake his hand. And I know I can't shake his hand now, but I still want to say thank you, Mr. Toriyama. Thank you for the many years of entertainment you provide me. Thank you for influencing me to try something and explore something that I never in my life thought I would have been able to want to try to explore or attempt. Thank you for that, for pushing me out of my comfort zone from being a guy who just would play sports and stuff all the time to getting in touch with my artistic side. It was all because of you. It was all because of him that I wanted to do that. So I thank him for that. Thank you for Dragon Ball Z and the impact it had on my life. Thank you for Dragon Quest and the enjoyment that that has given my life. So just thank you for everything. We're going to miss you. See you guys in the next one.